We are here in New York City at Cutler Salon with superstar hairstylist Rodney Cutler. He and his team are getting ready to vamp up some beautiful hair for Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week 2014. Ready for today, Rodney?
I'm ready. They're ready. You can see it's pumping here already. We just did a hair test for N Noir, so it's exciting. It's going to be a good week.
So what designers are you working with this year?
We just did Tadashi, we do N Noir, we're doing Jonathan Simkai today with Cynthia Raleigh. It's a lot, you know. I think we do about 25 shows, so it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. You know, for me, it's where fashion begins on the runway, so it's great.
So you guys gonna go through the models beforehand, and then what does it take to prepare your team?
Well, then what we do is we sign off on the look with the designer, then I go back to my team, take photos, and then we break it down how to achieve the look, exactly what products, when to put them in, and then because you have to have 20, 25 girls or guys look exactly the same. So that's the hardest part of the show, is getting the consistency. You can't have one girl look amazing and the rest are sort of slightly off. So that's probably the biggest challenge. And then having new team members come in and having their work and not knowing it sometimes. So it's probably the biggest challenge, but that's what we do, and we've figured it out.
How long have you been doing Fashion Week? Where did it come to fruition, kind of? How did you get started doing this?
So I was fortunate I worked at Bumble & Bumble, and they were big into fashion. So we just incrementally got into it. We've done as many as 45 shows, and it just sort of it evolves, you know, and designers get to know you, the publicists get to know you, and it's like anything, it's building a reputation and sort of building up and working with designers. I like it when we've worked with designers over a number of years because you understand them a little more, but it's always exciting to get that new show. Like this year we're doing N Noir, which is super exciting, and it sort of helps you sort of go to another place.
Did you have any mentors?
Lots. You know, that's what's great, is that there's so many people much better than myself and our team. So you're really, we're sort of a pretty humble environment, our company, and it's about surrounding yourself with great people who just want to get better. You never feel like you're that special. It's always like, just want to do a great job, see the designer walk out happy, then you're happy, you know. But over the years I've had so many incredible hairdressers I've worked around. It's amazing.
That's awesome. So we have a lot of hairdressers, they get out of school, and one of their dreams is to do some backstage fashion. What would be your advice to them?
Focus on your craft. Forget all that. If you have the skills and the commitment to get better, the success and opportunity comes. I think too many people focus on success and how to achieve that rather than just be good. Just focus on being good at what you do, surround yourself with smart people, understand the industry, recognize who's doing what magazines, who's doing what shows, but earn the right by becoming a good hairdresser and then sort of just pushing through those steps. If you get it too quick, it just very rarely works, you know. It's interesting how when you see people have long-term success because they've incrementally worked their way so they can do the job, they can get the job, and they understand the joy of being successful as well. So it's a healthy thing to go through the steps.
So basically hard work, dedication, and never giving up.
And just don't think you're that special. You just got to, there's so many great people out there. You've just got to be constantly working on your own work and building your relationships and question it. Come out of every show and say, how could I have done better? You know, because I do every time I come off a show, I'm like, oh, I looked at the show the other day and I'm like, oh, maybe it should have been a little cleaner. You know, if you get too many back slappers, it's not going to make you better. My mum's on this planet for that. Pat me on the back.
That's correct. Okay, so just to ask you, as far as education goes, okay, what would you advise your average hairdresser out of school for a year, has not gotten more education other than school itself? Of course, we have Redken Exchange, which is one of the best education you can get in our industry. What would you give them as advice to be able to work towards working behind the scenes at fashion shows and things like that?
So what's so great about Redken Education is that a lot of places teach hair and teach it well. It's creating an environment where you can be vulnerable. to sort of show your inabilities, or just sort of put your hand up and say, I don't know how to do that. So that's what I love about the world of Redken, is that you can be yourself, you can be vulnerable. Because if you're scared to be vulnerable, you're going to be scared to share, hey, I don't know that, I need to work on that. So it's that environment that sort of helps drive the education. There's a lot of good techniques, but it's more, to me, the environment that sort of gives you sort of the support to sort of go, I'm going to work on this, and feel like you can sort of let your guard down.
Fantastic advice. What about the hairdresser that has been out of school for about a year again and kind of had a bad experience, which we've all had first when we get out of school, and they're feeling kind of less confident and this is not for them anymore? What would your advice to them would be?
Well, I don't think that's a hairdressing thing to say. I think it's like a life, we all sort of get kicked, and you fall down and you get up, the great thing about hairdressing is that we don't have a time limit on this. You can do it for a long time. So even if you're not getting it, it's not coming natural to you. It's just about repetition, and the creativity's in the mind. So you've got to start looking at your references and understanding the sensibility of fashion. Your hands are there to purely execute. So if you have a great idea and you can't execute it, you can't showcase the work. So it's twofold: creativity, and then the repetition of practicing with your hand to be able to execute it. And like anything, you just can't give up. You just got to keep pushing. But it's the beauty of hairdressing is that there's so many markets for it. You can get a haircut for $5, you can get a haircut for $1,000. There's fashion shows, there's just photo shoots that sort of go nowhere. So it's boundaryless. So it's not like there's just one forum where you have to succeed in. There's many ways you can do this, being part of this industry.
Excellent advice, Rodney. I have to ask you this. What is your favorite Redken products and why?
Oh, it's always changing. I'm really into the diamond oil. Actually, I've been using a lot of it this week at Fashion Week because I want hair to look luxurious and move. I think Fashion Work 12s is one of those hairsprays or those products that'll just be timeless. It's amazing how often we use that, whether it's shiny, we want hold. It's just one of those universal products that'll just always sort of be in our kit. So they're probably at the moment my two big favourites. And powder grip. We are seeing that sort of a lot of texture as well. So you're seeing that shiny hair, and then you're also seeing that sort of Cape Moss edgy texture, and that's sort of magic in a very small bottle, but it goes a long way.
Honestly, don't know what we did before that powder grip. Rodney Cutler, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to working with you this afternoon at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week 2014, ladies and gentlemen.